Hey guys, today we are going to be reading the last two chapters of Twister on Tuesday. So happy Friday, and let's get started. Rosie is here with us today. Chapter 9, All Clear. Jeb pushed open the cellar door. Daylight streamed in. He looked out. All clear, he said. Jeb crawled out of the cellar. Jack followed. Then Annie, Will, Kate, and Miss Neely. The sky was gray above them. The Twister had torn the roof of the dugout and sucked everything out, even the rug. They all stared in shock at the empty space. Then Miss Neely smiled. "Well, at least we're all safe," she said. They stepped out of the hut. The air was thick with dust and bits of grass. The Twister had cut a wide path of dirt and destruction across the prairie. It was still whirling away across the horizon. Everyone watched silently as the Twister became long and thin, like a piece of rope. Then it vanished completely. Miss Neely turned to Jack and Annie. "You saved our lives," she said. "Thank you," said Will. "Thank you," said Kate, hugging Annie. "Jeb actually opened the cellar door," said Jack. "Yes, thank you too, Jeb," said Miss Neely. The older boy only scowled. "I hope you can get a new school," said Annie. "We will," said Miss Neely. "Just as we planted our fields again after the grasshopper attack, we'll build our school again after the Twister. If at first you don't succeed, try again." Jack thought Miss Neely was one of the bravest people he'd ever met. "You're a good teacher," he said shyly. "I love teaching," she said. "It's a job that lasts forever. Whatever you teach children today travels with them far into the future." "That's true," said Annie. Jack smiled. "Well, we better leave again," he said. "Bye," everyone waved, except Jeb. Jack and Annie started across the prairie, back toward the treehouse. They hadn't gone far when Jack heard someone shout his name. He turned around. It was Jeb. "Wait!" the older boy yelled. He had a fierce look on his face. He started running toward them. "Oh no," Jack breathed. "Leave us alone," Annie said angrily. "Shh, Annie," said Jack. "Let's see what he wants." When Jeb got close to them, he stopped. He looked right at Jack. "Why did you come back?" he asked. "We wanted to tell you about the storm cellar," said Jack. "How did you know about that cellar?" Jeb said. Jack pulled their research book out of his leather bag. "We read about it in this book," he said. Jeb stared at the book, then he sighed. "I aim to read too someday," he said. "That looks like a good book." Jack didn't know what to say. He was still afraid of making Jeb mad, so he just nodded. "My ma and pa were too poor to go to school," said Jeb. "They wanted me to go, but I'm getting started mighty late." "It's not too late," said Jack. "It's never too late," said Annie. Jeb narrowed his eyes. "If you ever come back here," he said. "Yes?" Jack asked carefully. Was Jeb about to threaten him again? "Maybe I'll be able to read that book of yours," Jeb said. Jack sighed and smiled. "I know you will," he said. Jeb smiled back. He had a nice smile. Thanks for coming back to rescue us, he said to both Jack and Annie. Too bad you can't say. I reckon we'd all be good friends if you did. I reckon we would, said Annie. Jeb nodded. Then he turned and ran back to join the others. Suddenly, the sun broke through the clouds. The wildflowers danced in a gentle breeze. You ready? Said Annie. Jack just stood there, staring at the sunlit prairie. Jack, you ready to go? Annie asked. In that moment, Jack actually didn't want to leave, but he nodded slowly and said, Let's go. He and Annie took off through the bright, sparkling grass. Then they ran to the small grove of trees near the creek. They climbed up the rope ladder and scrambled into the treehouse. Annie picked up their Pennsylvania book. I wish we could go there, she said. This time, the wind did not start to blow. The treehouse simply started to spin on its own. It spun faster and faster, and then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 10, The Third Writing. Jack opened his eyes. Morning light filled the treehouse. He and Annie were wearing their own clothes again. Home, said Annie, smiling. Jack looked out the window. He saw their nice, cozy house in the distance, their lawn, their sidewalk, their paved street. Life here is pretty easy compared to pioneer life, said Jack. We're lucky, said Annie. Jack reached into his bag and pulled out the small slate. Our third writing, he said. He added the poem to the list from the Civil War and the letter from the Revolutionary War. You did just what that poem said you should do, said Annie. What do you mean? Jack asked. If at first you don't succeed, try again, said Annie. You kept trying to make friends with Jeb. In the end, you did. I guess you're right, said Jack. We have to get only one more special writing from Morgan's library, said Annie. I wonder how that will help save Camelot, said Jack. Annie shrugged. It's a mystery, she said. She and Jack looked around the treehouse. Look! Annie picked up a piece of paper lying in the corner. She read aloud. Come back early Wednesday morning. Wednesday? Man, that's tomorrow, said Jack. So? Said Annie. She started down the rope ladder. Not much time to recover, said Jack, pulling on his backpack. Recover from what? Annie said. The twister, said Jack. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that, said Annie. Jack smiled. Actually, the nightmare of the twister was fading from his memory too. We must try to hold on to the good memories, Miss Neely had said, and let go of the bad ones. The kindness of Will and Kate, making friends with Jeb, the courage of Miss Neely. These memories, Jack thought, he would never forget. Alright guys, in the comments below, I want you to tell me about your favorite part of this book. This one was different than the past three, so I'm excited to hear what you liked about it, and what you liked about it differently than our last ones. Alright, I'll see you soon.